I can think of no other affliction here in the third millennium that is so misunderstood. Any other affliction, if you show up to work saying that you're dealing with cancer, diabetes, or you have a broken arm from skiing, you expect and you get compassion and empathy. And it's that empathy and compassion that is essential for you to heal. It's the complete opposite if you come into work and you talk about a mental illness. I mean, you're lucky if you just stay at a neutral point. If you come into work and say, hey, sorry, I just had a schizophrenic episode, I missed a week of work last week, or if you say, I apologize, I missed the weekend's social obligations, my brother was so anxious, I decided to stay at home with them. Not only do you not get the benefit of empathy and compassion, which is absolutely essential for the social human animal that we are, you risk ostracization. You risk being worse off than you were if you had kept your mouth shut. Does that not strike you as crazy? Pun intended? It's about looking at this rationally so that you can feel the love and the empathy so that you can heal. Because I can assure you that if mental illness, psychological disorders, whichever way you want to call it, nuts, crazy, it doesn't really matter. If we start dealing with it in an empathetic way, the issues will be far, far less damaging. $5 billion a year directly it costs our country if you're not a bleeding liberal like myself. A 2003 study said $50 billion in 2003 when you're looking at the bottom line, from loss of work to the penal system to the hospitals, $50 billion. So if we start treating ourselves with empathy and love, the cost to our great nation is going to come right down. I want to know why, when I was a student, and why our students today aren't hearing enough about the great people in history that have dealt with the mental illness. Whether we're talking about Beethoven that was so moody that no one could handle his company, or Abraham Lincoln being late for his wedding because he was too depressed to get out of bed, or Winston Churchill, one of the greatest prime ministers that England has ever known that got him through the Nazis, who referred to his bipolar dark episodes as his black dogs, or Johnny Depp's OCD, Mel Gibson's bipolar, Madonna's got apparently some personality disorder. I mean, the list is endless. I can go on and on. We end up celebrating these people and just whitewashing the hardship that perhaps these great people have dealt with in order to be great. There is a lot of hope out there. There are a lot of shaker movers and beautiful people that have contributed to our society that not only have gotten over their affliction to help shape the world that we live in, but perhaps even because of their affliction help shape the world we live in. We just got to look a little bit and stop hiding this crap. Excuse me, I won't swear. We got to stop hiding this stuff. A little nervous. I'd like to do a little thing here with you. There's many labels I carry and that we all carry. I'm a brother. It's kind of uplifting. I'm a son. It's an uplifting label that I carry that helps me remain light. I'm Jewish. Most audiences, that's an uplifting label. Not all. I'm a teacher. It's an uplifting label. You put BCTF teacher in front of it, okay. It's still uplifting. It's uplifting. I'm a fiance. It's uplifting. The heaviest weight I've carried my whole life is being bipolar. And today, I want you to know that this is born out of mania. This idea that I had was born out of mild mania. Today, being bipolar is this, ride, don't hide. And it is my lightest and most uplifting label. There's a long list of acknowledgements. And I know I'm going to forget some very important people, but nonetheless I have to attempt. First and foremost, the Canadian Mental Health Association. I had this idea, it's been tumbling in my head for 16 years. And I approached Bev Guthrie, the executive director of CMHA, back about 18 months ago, 4 months before I left. And Bev bought into it. And through Bev buying into it, I was introduced to their executive and to all the other wonderful CMHA volunteers that have made this dream a reality. And I owe them a big, big thank you for making this dream real, for adding some credibility to it, rather than just one guy going off on a bike squawking loudly. Suddenly, I had a noble, federal, educated organization backing up a crazy dream, and it had some credibility. So I'd like to acknowledge Bev Guthrie. If she could please stand, we have some flowers for Bev and her team. Thank you. There were some early risk takers that bought into Ride Don't Hide at the start. I met Chris and Margot at a presentation about a couple that had cycled South America and North America. And when they acknowledged to the audience in this adventure sort of oriented crowd that they had cycled as a couple in their 50s or in their 40s at the time. In their 50s? Late 50s, that had cycled from Bangkok to Paris. I went, wow. At the end of this presentation, I beelined down to Chris and Margot and said, get ready, I'm going to start picking your brain. You guys are going to, in so many words, you guys are going to get to know me. And they opened their heart and they opened their arms and they gave me so much advice and so much support. And so I'd like Chris and Margot to please stand. And Margot, if you could please accept some flowers, please. Again, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to miss some people here. Nonetheless, I have a dear friend that I met in university many, many years ago by the name of Jason Harrison. And we connected. And we connected in so many different ways. And I think that was back around 1996, 94. 94, I met Jason. And Jason and I talked about Ride Don't Hide. And we both said, yeah, we're going to do this. But, you know, Jason got a little smarter than I did. He was married and he started to have a family a little earlier. And because he's an amazing father, he realized that he wasn't able to join me for the whole trip. Nonetheless, he met me in San Diego and cycled to Baja and exited from Mazatlan. And so the first 2 weeks where I felt like, hey, I'm in this with someone, was Jason Harrison. And I think it's his wife, Julie, that has allowed Jason to be part of that. Because really it's the wives that allow my friends, these guys, to get out and support me. So I'd like his wife, Julie, to please stand and accept some flowers, please. Earlier than that, I have a dear friend by the name of Paul Lloyd, who's been a friend for me with me all the way back from high school and elementary school, who has ridden with me figuratively and literally through pretty much every storm that I've gone through. And again, speaking figuratively and literally, he rode with me in Thailand and Cambodia and has been a supporter of this idea way back when it was born, again around when I met Jason Harrison in 94, 96. Paul Lloyd is here. Paul Lloyd is search and rescue, don't know the word. So he works for Sartec out in Comox, rescuing people for a living. And once again, it's his wife Lisa that allows Paul to come out and support me. And if Lisa's here, if she could please rise and accept some flowers. Thank you. There are a list of buddies that have offered car support throughout Canada, friends and family, and I'm going to go through those rather quickly only because I don't want to. My dear friend Lauren, the good doctor, Jason Sartor, Cal, Jason Kemela has been a really big support. Jason Kemela has been emailing me from day one. Thank you, Jason. Mike Furtado also emailing me and phoning me all the way through from day one. Dan and Drew and Brian and Neil, and Bill and Lee, all friends that have allowed me to continue with the ride even though I was getting more scattered and more nervous and more Michael Schratter as I grew closer to the finish. These guys in the car, the way they motivated me with firecrackers, literally firecrackers like go, pizza, warm food, the big stick. Billy, there's a picture on the blog of Billy chasing me with the big stick. Sometimes the carrot, sometimes the stick. I don't know what to say other than thank you. So if we could give a big clap for There are some other women here that I don't get a chance to give flowers to simply because they're not here. Shelley MacArthur, who believed in this early. Ronnie Ross, my principal. Pat Goodlison and Barb Parrott, two BCTF matriarchs that taught me that being a teacher isn't necessarily looking after the status quo, but pushing the frontiers. I really, really appreciate the progressive education that I get working with these teachers. Betty Shelton, Pam Groverman with Pam Groverman PR, who took a risk at the very start. Gail Ryan, who I hope is here. There she is. Great friend Gail Ryan from Oppenheimer. If someone could grab some flowers. And Gail worked across the hall with me for many, many years. And I'm so lucky to have her as a friend. Thank you, Gail. Erica Drexel and Jen Billingsley, two teachers that I went to school with in Teachers College that have been so supportive. If Erica and Jen could please stand, we have some flowers here. And we're getting to the end of this. Thank you very much. There they are. There we go. I'm getting I had a list of flowers, but I don't think we have enough, so that's why I have to pull this back. So let me just say to the wives, Andrea, Christine, Sarah, Andrea, the wife of Cal, Christine, the wife of Bill, Sarah, the wife of Neil, Julie, the wife of Brody, Lisa, Kara, Kim, Ruth, if you could please stand for taking care of my mom and getting us through Ontario and the Maritimes, please. Ruth Jans. Marella. Emily. And Diane. Again, it's easier for the guys to come out and support. I think it's much more difficult for their partners, also my friends, but in a different way, if you know what I'm saying, to say, hey, go out there and believe in this cause and believe in Michael for 3 days, 4 days, when you could be at home with me, when you could be at home with the kids. So please, a big clap for the wives and the partners. I'm near the end here, I promise you. A couple big risk takers. Mike Rayner, who right out of college in Langara created the website. A big clap for Mike. Dean Broughton no longer works with 24. Suzanne Wilton's doing a great job as editor-in-chief now. Dean is with the Vancouver Sun, the E-edition. And when Pam Groverman is a PR agent and I approached Dean and said, what do you think? A 2-week column every 2 weeks in 24 about mental health issues. Not about the blog, not about the sexy travel stuff, but about the real stuff. And Dean bought into that. In 24 hours, in general, for a newspaper to come forward and take such a risk. Here's a big clap to Dean Broughton. Last but not least, I'm so blessed to have family that just we all have family, but I'm just so blessed. And I just want to say thank you to my sister-in-law, Krista, and my brother, Ed, and my mom, and my beautiful fiance, Deborah So, who I'm so lucky to have met and to be introduced to her loving family. I'm a very blessed man. And if you could acknowledge my family, nothing would make me happier. Thank you. And that's it. If you can remember this positive storytelling machine, we've got a chance. I promise you. Thank you.
I can attest that Michael's sister-in-law now has the cleanest tear ducts of anybody in this building. It's so touching to watch from here. What Michael's achieved physically is beyond what most people would even imagine doing. What he's achieved in drawing attention and building awareness surrounding mental health and the stigma attached to it is incredible. Now it's up to us. It's up to us as individuals, as governments, companies, and organizations to continue his mission and support mental health through research, programs, and services that changes how we view and we think of it. If we don't pick this up and we don't do this, then it lessens what this young man has achieved. Believe me, you're young, okay? Help us change the face of mental illness, one pedal at a time, $1 at a time. I want to thank everyone for coming today, for making this so special for Michael. I would ask you on the way out, there's a number of booths from different agencies that you should look at and stop at. Thank you very much for coming today. A hell of a ride. Thank you.
Here in the third millennium that is so misunderstood. You go up to work saying that you're dealing with cancer, diabetes, or you have a broken arm that is essential for you to heal. It's a complete. Or if you say, I apologize, I missed the weekends, you risk ostracization. You risk being worse off than if mental illness, psychological disorder. So if we start treating ourselves with empathy and love, I'm a brother, kind of uplifting. I'm a teacher. Son. It's an uplifting label. You put VCT is being bipolar. And today, there's a long list of acknowledgements and had for 16 years. And I approached Bev Guthrie, introduced to their executive, and to all the other wonderful CMHA volunteers. There were some early risk takers that in their 50s or in their 40s at the time. I went down to Chris and Margot and said, get ready, I'm going to start picking your brain. And we connected. And we connected and we both said, yeah, we're going to do this. But, you know, speaking figuratively and literally, he rode with me in search and rescue, don't know the word. So he works for Accept Some Flowers, thank you. Support throughout Canada, friends and family, and I'm going to go through those rather quickly, but pushing the frontiers. I really, really appreciate risk at the very start. Here, we have some flowers here. And we're getting to the end of this. Thank you very much. I don't think we have enough, so that's why I have to pull this back. So let me just say, Kim, Ruth, it's easier in Michael for 3 days, 4 days when you could be at home with me. Big clap for Mike. PR agent and I approached Dean and said, what do you think? A 2-week column every 2 weeks. Last but not least, I'm just so blessed. And I just want to say thank you to and that's it.
How we view and we think of it. Believe me, you're young, okay? From different agencies that you should look at and stop at.